Hey guys, Dylan here, and today we're doing Pink Bot, and I've got a guest on. Can you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm the Spontaneous Blade, or Blade for short, and I make videos about video games.
So, what ended up catching my interest about your channel was your Sonic 1 review. And I'm a really big fan of Sonic 1, and recently I got really hyped over the Sonic 1 HD on the computer, like the Christian Whitehead port being playable on PC. So I've been getting really into Sonic 1 again, and you're doing a whole retrospective on it, analysis on it. So, can you tell us about that? What made you want to do that?
So I've been doing YouTube for about I want to say like 3 years, but like I wasn't extremely happy with the content I was putting out. And so I kind of wanted to give my channel a fresh start. And so I was brainstorming ideas of like what game I could start out with to review. And since Sonic is my all-time favorite video game franchise, I thought starting out with Sonic 1 would be the most logical place to start.
Uh,
And
what
yeah.
inspired you to do reviews like that, where you go over the music, you go over the gameplay, you go over the critical reception of it all? What inspired you to do a review split up into sections like that? Because you're doing like multiple episodes on this. This isn't just a one and done.
Yeah, so this idea arose sort of from the same just story of just like I wasn't happy with the reviews I was putting out because before I've unlisted all those videos, but I was making just one video reviews and they were about like 10 minutes each. But I was finding that I couldn't really fit all my thoughts into one video. And like I was thinking about making longer videos, but after a while, I would just get so burned out from just making something so long, just focusing on something so long, and it was becoming hard to put out content at a reasonable pace. So then I thought, well, what if I split it into multiple episodes? And so I tried it out, and it seems to be working out. So, yeah.
Okay, you're doing Sonic 1 right now. Would you consider yourself to be rebranding as a Sonic channel, or do you just want to start with Sonic and then move on to other games?
So I'm gonna keep doing Sonic on and off. I do want to cover other games. So I wouldn't say I'm quite like a completely Sonic focused channel, but I do want to make a lot of Sonic content. I cannot speak right now.
I have the same problems, it's fine.
Yeah, like I want to keep doing a lot of Sonic content because it's my favorite series, but I do also want to cover other games. I think my next review series will probably be on Minecraft. So after I finish Sonic 1, look out for that.
So, in this video, you talked about how certain people uh, didn't know how to play Sonic 1. And
Yes.
do you feel that way about any other Sonic game? If so, which ones? Like, which ones do you feel that reviewers just don't understand?
Um, well, the short answer is pretty much all of them. I feel like especially the 3D games get a lot of flack for just no good reason, usually because reviewers just don't understand the mechanics or the depth of the mechanics. I feel like especially the adventure games, like people just don't understand them at all. Those ones I'm most excited to review because I really feel like they're misrepresented just in the industry as a whole.
When it comes to me, I hear people say a lot, and this is like the biggest critique that people who don't know how to play Sonic say. Sonic is a game where you're meant to go fast. And they don't
Yes.
they don't seem to understand that it's a platformer game, that you
Right.
can move quickly, but you have to know how to move quickly. If you just run face first into the abyss, you're going to crash. So I don't know why a lot of these people try to go fast on their first go and then end up getting upset because they died. It'd be like running at max speed with Mario and just
Right.
expecting to
Yeah.
win immediately.
Yeah. I actually covered this in the dumb arguments against Sonic the Hedgehog video, where it's just like, it's like reviewers expect that if you just run right the whole time that you should be able to win, when it's just like, is that even a game at that point? Like, what's actually the point of a video game if you're just like always getting the reward the whole time? Because people don't understand that's the reward of getting good at Sonic is going fast. It's not something that you can just do right away.
I feel like the games that balance speed and platforming are the best ones. That's why my favorite 3D Sonic game would have to either be the adventure titles or Colors. Because I feel
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
unlike the other games, they really found a way to balance the speed and platforming. With Colors, you could only boost with Wisp. So that means that you couldn't spam the boost or else you'd run out and then you'd have to move slow. So you'd have to use the boost responsibly. And there was a lot of 2D platforming segments that I honestly feel like didn't outstay their welcome. But when it came to the adventure games, they really balanced out just how quickly you can move. Because I really feel like in Adventure 1 and 2, you really don't move that fast.
Yeah.
So I feel like with some of the Sonic games, they really understood that you need to balance speed with platforming. But with games like Unleashed and Generations and Forces, I feel like they just want you to press the boost button and bash through all the enemies and just dodge the obstacles they throw at you.
Yeah, for sure. I think really that formula with the classic games is just the way to go. That's basically what the adventure games do, just basically in 3D. I feel like Sonic 3 especially does this extremely well, where there are sections where you're basically just holding right, but those are rewards for getting past really tricky platforming sections. I feel like to an extent Sonic 1 does this as well, just not as
With
much.
loops, yeah. Loops
Yeah.
and the tunnels, those are always just auto speed sections that make you feel good.
Right.
The
Yeah, and
Sonic
the
2
adventure games have that as well.
Sonic 2 added in the dash panels, which give you max speed, which is also another way of reward. But I honestly feel like that Sonic didn't need dash panels. I feel like dash panels were a terrible idea. I think they work well in the 3D games, because in the 3D games I find myself like having a more difficult time building up speed. But with the 2D games, I really feel like the roll and the spin dash are enough, and you don't need a dash panel.
Yeah, I think like later 2D games would sort of balance out the whole dash panel thing, but I think you're right about Sonic 2. Like I love Sonic 2, but I have to admit it's way too easy.
I think
Like,
Sonic 3 overdid it with the dash panels. Like,
oh
especially
really?
a Hydro City Zone, there's dash panels everywhere. Like, there's so
Oh, that
many.
is true.
And they're not
That
the
is true.
normal dash panels either. Like, a hand comes out, it grabs you, holds you in place, then dashes you.
Yeah. It's definitely a funny visual thing, but probably didn't need to be in the level when the spin dash exists.
That's my biggest problem with Sonic 3 is it throws so much shit at you that you don't get the platform. Like, you get on these... and people complain about gimmicks in other Sonic games, but Sonic 3 is full of them. Or in Marble Zone... Not Marble Zone, Marble Garden Zone. You have those tops you have to spin on.
Oh, I hate Marble Garden. I think that's probably one of my least favorite zones in that game.
And in the Death Egg Zone, you have to deal with the zero gravity shit where you're flipping upside down. There's other examples too. In Sandopolis, there's the ghost you have to constantly deal with by turning on and off the light. Like, there's so many gimmicks in that game, and people want to complain about gimmicks in other Sonic games. That's why I don't like Sonic 3 as much, because Sonic 3 is full of gimmicks. Like, more gimmicks than Sonic CD is. It's ridiculous. I feel like with Sonic games, Sonic is like Mario. He's good enough to where you don't need to bloat it with other gameplay styles. I feel like just Sonic running and jumping and spinning is enough. I don't think he needs to turn into a werehog. I don't think he needs the boost aliens. I think that he's just good enough to run and jump.
Yeah, I definitely think. I don't know. I think other gameplay styles can work if it's like tied to other characters and if they don't overstay their welcome. I think Adventure 2 does this really well, where like there's plenty of Sonic levels, which are, I guess it's different from Adventure 1 in the way that like Adventure 1, the levels are pretty much verbatim the classic formula just copied to 3D. But then Adventure 2, Sonic's levels are a lot more streamlined, they're a lot faster, and then the other characters sort of fill in that gap where there's a lot of tricky platforming and stuff.
I noticed that when they streamline it to make it faster, it mostly just turns the levels into a straight line. The only time that the only time that I would say that the really fast levels weren't just a straight line would be with Heroes. But with Heroes, that was a bad thing because you would end up like getting like thrown everywhere because Sonic moves way too fast.
Yeah, Sonic Heroes is a whole other thing.
I don't even want to
I'll-
play as a speed character in Heroes.
Gosh, I'll have to cover that game at some point. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
But yeah, one of my biggest problems with Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog, is that the characters move way too fast. Like Sonic is.
I think the problem is that the levels just don't accommodate for the speed, and also the momentum is just way too slippery.
Yeah, when it comes to Sonic, I think he should start out slow and build up speed. And once
Yeah.
you start moving fast, you're already at a level of understanding with the level to where you can move fast without falling off of the ledge. But with Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog, you just immediately pick up speed, like right out the
Yeah,
gate.
there's barely any transition. You go from standing still to just zooming.
I feel like the problem is with that game is it almost feels like it took Sonic's R momentum. Like in Sonic R, if you're playing as a speed character, you're just immediately fast, and I don't want that with Sonic. I feel like the main thing people should focus with, and this is what I've been saying in my other podcast that Sonic should be like Mario, is that Sonic should have a walking animation, and he should walk at first, then build up speed like he did in
Right.
the classic games, because that's a fine formula, and you can transition that into 3D. Fucking
Yeah,
Mario
that's-
Odyssey did it.
I mean, that's pretty much what Adventure 1 tried to do. I mean, granted, it was on very weak hardware by today's standards, so there's a whole debate about how well that game has aged, but
I
I think the blueprint is there at least.
I think with Adventure 1, if you're playing the Dreamcast original, or if you play the Dreamcast restoration mod for DX, it still aged really well. But if you're playing any of the DX ports vanilla, it's shit. It's fucking garbage. Because I hated the game. I hated the game when I first played it, and that's because I was playing the Xbox 360 port, or I was playing the GameCube port, vanilla, and it was terrible. I hate it. Like, these ports are unacceptable, and Sega should feel bad for selling
Yeah.
people that shit.
Sega has never been good at just porting in general, but especially PC ports with Sonic games. Like Generations and Adventure 2 are just a nightmare to get running now.
Oh, yeah, I had to fucking file edit. I had to go into the files and edit that
Yeah.
shit to get it to run on my PC.
Yeah, same here.
And I want it on my PC because that's the only way I play Unleashed now, is through the Generations Unleashed mod.
Right.
And when it comes to modding Sonic games, I think Heroes is one of my favorite ones, because if you get the PC port of Heroes, you can actually mod out the shiny textures on all the characters. You can make them
Oh,
not shiny. And I did that with Sonic 4 as well. I'm like, I hate the shiny texture. They're
oh,
not made of
Sonic
plastic.
4, Sonic 4 Episode 1 looks just god awful. I don't
There's a
know what they were
mod.
thinking.
There's a mod that'll make him normal looking.
I'll need to look into that. I don't think I've ever seen any mods for Sonic 4
There's not a
and
lot.
Heroes.
There's not a lot of mods for either.
Uh,
They have about as much mods as Sonic R does. Like Sonic R has
oh,
like
that
5 mods.
that says a lot.
No one wants to mod these games, and Sonic Lost World used to have mods, but like,
Then Forces came out, and then like that's just way better to mod.
well, a lot of people ended up deleting their accounts. Like one of the mods I was looking for a while was one that lets you turn the classic Sonic, and I can't find it anywhere. It's just gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's just gone?
Yeah, the guy who made it deleted his fucking Game Banana account, so
Jeez.
that's just out of the fucking park. I can't play that anymore.
That sucks.
Is there anything else you want to talk about, or are you hyped about anything Sonic related?
I'm just cautiously optimistic about what the heck is going to happen next. The Sonic movie 2, I'm hoping that will be good because like I feel like most of the franchise's reputation is leaning on the movie franchise right now. The Sonic show, no idea. That's just up in the air. Sonic Prime, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And then the next game, absolutely no idea. I have no idea what to expect. I'm hoping they've listened to fan feedback, and I'm hoping they're really taking their time with this one. But it's just really hard to say because like after Forces and Lost World, and Boom, and it's just hard to say.
I really feel like we're not getting any announcements this year, and I'm mad.
We're really not. We're really not.
I'm mad at the SonicTubers who keep clickbaiting this shit. Because
Yes.
they're
Oh my
making it a
gosh.
1,000 times worse because they're hyping up the kids and the people who don't know any better. And they keep fucking teasing them saying, "Oh my god, Sega's going to announce this here?" question mark, or Sega's going to
Yeah.
do this. And I'm like, just shut the fuck up. Leave Sega alone. Quit teasing this news shit. Just wait for something to get announced. Like,
For real. Like
there's
I mean,
other
I
Sonic
know,
shit.
I know, like the lack of news is like probably hard for the channels that like kind of rely on this, but like, don't lie to people in like your thumbnails and stuff. Like, come on.
There's other Sonic shit to talk about, though. They could be talking
Yeah.
about the comics. They could be talking about the lore of the franchise. They could be talking about the old cartoons. There's so many Sonic things that you could talk about, but they'd rather just clickbait and go for the fucking obvious shit where it's like, are they going to announce something here? Sega's having a conference?
Adventure 3 confirmed?
Yeah, fucking these people. Like, I think with Sonic shit on YouTube, it needs a major renaissance because right now people get rewarded for mediocrity. And I used to get mad like over a decade ago when people would get a lot of fucking attention just for doing Let's Plays. But at this point, I'd rather have the Let's Players back.
Right?
Because at least the Let's Play makes you sit down and hook up a game and play it and have some commentary on it. But now all you gotta do is fucking say Sega's gonna announce something question mark and then fucking repeat yourself for 10 minutes and then boom, there's your ad revenue.
There you go. It's just stonks.
It's just disappointing. Like with the
Yeah.
Sonic franchise, I'd say I'm not hyped for the next modern Sonic game. I want a Mania 2, if anything. And with the show, I don't know what it's gonna be. And for the new shit, I would say just fucking leave Sega alone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really just hard to say right now. Just what the heck to expect. Obviously, as you said, there's been a lot of speculation and clickbait and stuff, but I've just been trying to ignore it all because it's almost never actually true. And yeah, I just really hope whatever the heck the next game is. I don't care what style it is. I don't care if it's 3D or 2D or whatever. Just please make it good for once.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
That's why I've been fucking preaching. I know my other co-hosts on Club Spin don't agree with me, but I've been preaching they should just go back to being like Mario. Because Mario works. People like Mario. No one's ever said Mario had a rough transition to 3D. Just fucking be Mario. It's easy. Just fucking... Mario has a roll now. Mario can build up momentum. He has a run button. Like, how can you not make this work for Sonic?
It's so funny how many things Nintendo's doing now with Mario that like Sonic used to do, and they're just doing it so much better.
They even
Like,
have some Sonic Adventure people working on the Mario games.
yeah, and then like Bowser's Fury, like Bowser just looks super cool, and like there's this friggin' metal music playing, and it's like basically Perfect Chaos 2.0. And it's just like Sonic Forces over here with like the Sonic Colors final boss for like the 50th time.
Mario Odyssey having the really fucking good city level. Meanwhile, with Sonic, we can't get anything like that.
It's just Green Hill again.
Like, I saw this one post, and it was like, what people are expecting from Sonic Prime, and it showed, like, Sonic meeting a bunch of multiverse versions of himself, and they're like, we gotta save the universe. And then it's like, what we're actually gonna get from Sonic Prime, and it's like, man, this sure is looking a lot like Pink Hill Zone. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably it. That's probably what we're getting.
Yeah, and then like classic Sonic comes in, and then like they come up with yet another excuse why he's there instead of just like sticking to one canon.
I feel really fucking bad because I like classic Sonic, and I think classic and modern can exist side by side, but because how Sega keeps using him, they're just pissing off modern fans, and they're making modern fans want to kill classic Sonic. And I'm like, that's not cool. I want them to exist at the same time, because when I grew up, classic Sonic was dead. Like, he turned into modern Sonic, and they never used classic. So, I'm glad that he's back, and classic Sonic will always be my Sonic, but I really think that they're just finding the best way to piss off the fan base, because, like, shoehorning him into modern shit just make the modern fans feel like they're not legit, and that they have to have classic.
It would have been so easy. It would have been so easy just to make Mania its own thing, and then make Forces its own thing, and then they probably could have focused on the boost gameplay and made it like at least a little bit better. But instead, they felt like they had to put classic in both games.
Well, what I think happened is that Forces is the original game. Forces was in development longer. The Ruby was originally going to appear in Forces, and it was going to be an Eggman creation. They say it throughout the game. Eggman made the Phantom Ruby. Classic Sonic was going to be in Forces. But then when Mania got pitched to them, and they're like, ah, fuck, we can do something with this, they asked Christian Whitehead to change the plot of Mania. Because if you listen to Christian Whitehead's original pitch for Mania, he had a completely different story that had nothing to do with the Phantom Ruby. So I honestly feel like the Phantom Ruby being shoved into Mania and Mania being tied into Forces was Sega's doing and not the original intentions.
Yeah, probably.
And through doing that, they made a fucking plot hole in their own game. Because the original story for the game that made it into the cutscenes, that made it into the dialogue, they repeatedly say, Eggman made the Phantom Ruby, Eggman made Infinite. And it's like, what? And then they released a comic book, a fucking comic book, to explain that the Phantom Ruby appeared and Eggman didn't make it, but Eggman did make it.
Gosh.
Like, I don't think they know what the word prototype means. Like, why couldn't you redub the audio? Like, a prototype means that that's the one that came before the final. So that means that the Phantom Ruby prototypes are his test for the Phantom Ruby final product.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. No fucking sense at all. And I don't know why when people review the Sonic Forces, I've seen 80 fucking reviews for Sonic Forces. No one brings up the fact that the plot makes no fucking sense. Like, not the parts that people complain about, like Sonic being tortured and shit. I'm talking about the actual story makes no sense because they say Eggman made Infinite, but the comic book says Infinite's just a guy he found. They say
Right, and then episode Shadow goes with the comic, but then the main game is still just completely wrong.
The funny thing is, episode Shadow was made as DLC, so it was made
Right.
after the game was done. So they went with the retcon for episode Shadow, even though the game contradicts that.
How hard would it have been for them to just like update the game like after they released episode Shadow? I mean, like it probably would have been a little bit of work, but like it's just so painfully obvious how much they retconned just to make their dumb idea work.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like they really don't want Infinite in anything, because they don't know what they're going to do with him, because he was intended to
Right.
be a fake creation. Like, he was intended to be, like, some type of cyborg thing created by Eggman, and not an actual character. And now, since he's an actual character, they're like, ah, fuck, what do we do?
Man.
Because he's the one character right now. He's the one modern character. Like, the character has been introduced in the past few years that's off limits. You can use the Zeddy. You can use a lot of the other shit Sega's introduced, but you can't use Infinite. He's off. He's off the table.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of stuff from Sonic Forces probably won't be used again after its reception, because the same thing happened with Sonic 06, where like for a while they just completely stopped using adventure stuff. So I feel like they'll probably do the same thing here.
Speaking of '06, Mephiles is another character that Sega has on the Do Not Touch list.
Right, yeah.
I really think that when it comes, and I know a lot of these end up turning into like us just ranting about Sega, but I feel like Sega really needs to just decide what can and can't be used, what can and isn't allowed, what is and isn't canon. Like, they need to sit down and just have a dialogue about this shit, or just reboot the franchise, because
Yeah, that's what I've been pushing for, because they're trying to make everything canon, and by doing that, they can't make anything canon. So they just end up using just random crap and just hoping it sticks.
yeah, I pitched this in a different video. I don't remember which one, but my idea is just do Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 HD, and then everything past Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 is non-canon, and then just start over like Crash Bandicoot. It's like,
That's probably what I would like.
I get that we'd be losing a lot of stuff that way, but do you really give two shits about the Wisp or the Zeddy or the Werehog? Like, what else? What did we get that really stuck? We can't use Mephiles anymore. We can't use Infinite anymore. Is Zavok really worth keeping the old canon around for?
Nobody even likes Zavok, and they just keep using it.
Like, what was introduced after Adventure 1 and 2 that's really worth keeping? Neo Metal Sonic? For the one comic book appearance he's had?
Right, yeah. Like, I feel like if they rebooted, they could probably use stuff from other games, but they would just have to reintroduce them, and then hopefully maybe they could introduce them in a way that doesn't completely suck.
If I
know.
was Sega, I would look at what Crash did and do that. Like, have Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2 HD, and then have Sonic Adventure 3. Like, I'm not even an Adventure fanboy. Didn't like the games when I was growing up. But at this point, I just want Sonic to work. And that's
Yeah.
the most successful formula they've had for 3D.
True.
So yeah, despite us going on that rant again, I guess I'll ask you, is there any other YouTube channels that inspired you to do Sonic content?
To do Sonic content specifically.
Yeah. Is there any SonicTubers you like?
I really like Sam. He's called Sam Procrastinates now. He used to be
Yes, I
called
know.
Sam's Procrastination Station. I don't know. To be honest, I haven't exactly watched like a ton of Sonic Tubers. I've mostly watched like other like just variety gaming channels like cover Sonic stuff. I mean, I've been watching your content, and right now there's just not a lot of good Sonic content to go around, I guess, just
Well,
because there
yeah.
hasn't been a lot of it's just stuff in general. But I think what inspired me to defend the games, there were a couple YouTubers. There was Exo Paradigm Gamer. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I really liked his videos on Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. I feel like he defended them really well, brought up a lot of really good points. So I look up to him on how to like really defend your just case on a game, just because he goes so in depth. And then as for inspiration in general, Nitro Rad is a big
Oh,
inspiration for
yeah, I
me.
used to watch him all the time.
Yeah, I love his stuff. I just love how passionate he is about everything he talks about, and I just love just the general vibe of his channel. I think he's probably my main inspiration now. I just really love his content.
Okay, so we talked about how you felt about the franchise, how you felt about the community, how you felt about YouTube, your inspirations and stuff. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Um, I don't know. I'm making a game.
Oh, you are.
Yeah. It's not super far into development right now, but I'll probably be posting updates soon on my YouTube channel. So I guess that'd be a pretty good segue to, I don't know, plug my channel, I guess.
Okay. In case you're wondering, his YouTube channel and anything else he gives me is in the description below. I've had a lot of fun having you on here. If you want to see some cool Sonic content, especially a Sonic 1 retrospective, go check out his channel. I think that it's worth watching. It's at part 3 right now. And I really enjoyed having you on here.
Thank you very much for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Okay, thank you guys for watching. If you like this podcast, hit the like button. If you really like it, share it. And if you want to see more, then subscribe. We have a whole playlist that has both Pinkbot and Club Spin in it. And I'm going to continue making more content. Bye, guys.
See ya.